Hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my overview of DmC Devil May Cry. So yes, this is a bit out of season. I mean, 11 years later, I guess. It came out in 2013. However, this is something that I've played with the idea of on the channel of going through a classic game once a week for review, and I will review this. This is just my first 2 hours with it under my overview system, but I thought I'd get in quick and get this video up while it's still on sale. So it's still a work in progress, but I like the idea of reviewing an older game once a week that's on sale, and it gives you an opportunity to pick it up yourself as well. Maybe you're a budget gamer and you're not really interested in paying quadruple A price for a game every week, and I couldn't blame you. So yeah, this is really cool, but I thought I'd just front load with that. Pick it up, especially if you don't know anything about Devil May Cry, because that's kind of me. And stand by, I suppose I'll review it in the next coming days as I play through it some more. Bit of preamble there, and also on that, I do overviews on this channel quite often. I have a look at the first 2 hours of a game because it's a Steam refund window. I have a whole spiel, but we won't worry about it too much. But yeah, the idea of doing a classic game once a week, I think is interesting. And my goodness, does this hold up. So to front load, this game's absolutely worth your time, worth your money. Whether you have nostalgia or not, this thing holds up so well, and I have just hoovered up those 2 hours, and I can't wait to basically clock this game myself. So yes, worth your time, worth your money. So my background is as such. I'm actually a bit of a Capcom nut. I like a lot of what Capcom does. Resident Evil is easily my favorite series ever, and I like the odd stuff they've been doing recently, like Exoprimal, Kanitsu, Jammy, whatever the bloody hell it's called. That's cool. I've been chipping away at that in the background. But the Devil May Cry series represents a pretty big blind spot for me. I haven't played any of them except this one. I played this when it came out bloody 11 years ago. I think it must have been on PS3 as part of like a PS Plus thing. Maybe they gave me the game for free. So apprehensively, I gave it a go, and I loved it. I loved it then, and going back into it now, seeing it was on sale, needing a palate cleanser and picking it up, oh, it's so good, man. It really makes a bombastic entrance, plays so well. So before I get into all that, that's what I would like to point out, that yes, maybe it is to my shame that I haven't really played Devil May Cry games, and maybe this might be the inroads to me falling into that series, who knows. But this game itself stands distinctly apart because it was kind of a soft reboot to the series. I don't know if it actually needed it or not being a Devil May Cry fan, and I think it was one and done. I'm pretty sure this kind of just stands on its own, almost as a spin-off in a way. But as far as I can understand, well received by everyone. Maybe the real hardcore fans fucking hate it, who knows, but don't worry about them. But yeah, baby's first Devil May Cry, surely, absolutely. It's really clean and tight gameplay-wise, and as far as the narrative, it is very bombastic, it's clean, it's cut together really well, it's smooth, it wastes no time. There is no bloat in any of the narrative or the gameplay. Like, I've just put 2 hours into it, and I feel like I've gotten a fair clip into the game already. They've given me a lot of mechanics, a lot of, story such as it is, demons fighting, background, all that sort of crap, but I feel like it's been a very dense and yet succinct 2 hours so far. So yeah, I'm singing its praises because it's great. It's very edgy, right? Not emo edgy, I guess, though I see it all the same. More like metal edgy. Funnily enough, I don't really give a shit for all throat singing metal music. I find it all kind of the same, but it works really well in this game. Like, they've tied all the aesthetic and the soundtrack together, and I think, what's it called? Throat Full of Glass. It's like the opening song theme, and I've had it in my Spotify ever since this game came out. So if it can crack someone like me, I'm sure anyone could enjoy this. You play as Dante. We've already got his estranged twin brother Virgil involved. There's this other chick, Vic or Beck or something or other, and she's cool. They're all really cool. The cast of characters are quite cool. The thing that really strikes me about this Dante bloke is, at a blush, at a glance, maybe even looking at this footage, you might go, oh, this cunt looks so fucking edgy and what a loser. But he's actually not. He's not a chatty Cathy. Like, he has some very sparing dialogue. And I was really sort of thinking about it while I was playing it. I was like, why does this guy work when the chatty protagonist, edgelord, it shouldn't work. Everything about this shouldn't, but it does. And I honestly think it's because he's sparing with his commentary, right? He does a few clips and all that. They actually let the character model do a bit of storytelling as well, like with expressions and that. He doesn't necessarily explain everything out like he's had a lobotomy, which is what we see in a lot of main gaming these days. I think it actually comes back to the fact that like he's competent and he knows it. It's not arrogance, it's just that this dude is cool because he's competent and he's not shooting his mouth off the whole time. Anyway, you could probably do a whole character study, but everything about this screams it shouldn't work. He should be an obnoxious, unlikable character, and yet I think he's badass. It doesn't mess around in the opening either because he's sort of adrift, right? He tumbles into this life, but he's a piss wreck that goes out partying and smashing lots of chicks, and it lays it on so thick, and it's kind of a breath of fresh air, man. If you're sick of how, well, let's be honest, how bloody conservative modern gaming has come under the auspice of liberalism, maybe you'll like this. But even though it lays it on and it's like it's got that mood, it reminds me of bloody edgy superhero movies of the 90s, right? This in a way reminds me of Blade, or shit, even like Spawn, The Punisher, stuff like that. Gritty, with a kind of edge to it. And it's got some pretty biting, commentary underpinning it. There's like a demon dude that's running everything. He's taken over all the news and he's put up cameras everywhere. And he's basically got the population drinking Slurm. So everyone's drinking this Coca-Cola that subdues them. And it's got all pop-ups on the screen about being fat and stupid. And I'm like, yeah, this is so good. If this game came out this year, it would pop. So yeah, I'm very impressed. I haven't even really touched on the gameplay loop, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it still is quite similar to what makes Devil May Cry. Sort of a combo juggler, character action type game. Think of the old God of Wars, I suppose. And these are games that I've never really loved. Obviously, I never got into Devil May Cry, but I don't know why, because it's so tight and clean. They've already laid a lot of mechanics on. You pretty much have your little pistols that you don't use that much. You have your sword, but I've unlocked like an axe, which is better for certain enemies, a scythe, and there's a lot of comboing. I'm using controller. The game's clearly built for controller, like using trigger toggles, right? So if Y is my swing on my sword, holding right trigger or left trigger and pressing Y will pull up a different weapon set. Then there's all aerial components and juggling, but it's not too heavy on the combos themselves, and I think this is where it gets me and where other games lose me. As soon as you start turning into the Street Fighter, as soon as you start trying to get me do bloody quarter circle, blue, red, punch up or whatever, like you lose me. That's for fighting games. This, you essentially have like spam Y, or you can hit Y a couple of times, then pause, then hit it again, and that's as complicated as it gets. But then you have aerial combinations, and like I said, you've got different weapon interplay, different tools for the job. So yes, it's combo juggling, and it has a score system which is incredibly satisfying, where if you just keep spamming the same thing over and over again, your score will drain. You have to switch it up. But it's more about the interplay of your different moveset as opposed to juggling face buttons on a controller. I hope this makes sense. And that's why I really like this, and it kind of makes me want to go and check out all the other Devil May Crys, assuming that they hold to this same principle, that it's more about having multiple different weapons that you juggle the weapons you're attacking with, as opposed to combo juggle a la Mortal Kombat or something. Anyway, I don't need to waffle. I think I've covered it off fair enough. This game is really good. I'm going to sink some more time into it and get a review out. That's the plan. You should pick it up while it's cheap. You who don't know Devil May Cry, never played Devil May Cry or anything like that, get this one, join my Discord, play along with the community, and I'm pretty sure you'll have a great time. It might be just the palate cleanser you need, because it's exactly what I needed. Anyway, team, might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.